Welcome back to the Padilla Family Homestead. We are here for an Azure haul. You can tell I have a ton to share, so I'm going to flip this camera around and get to sharing so I can get this put away. All right, so the first big things that I got are 25 pounds of golden beets. If you are back and forth on being a beet fan, roasted golden beets are delicious. They're not quite as earthy as red beets, and they're super sweet and good. I got 25 pounds of number 2 carrots. These still look great, but there are some that are broken and things like that. And so this still is going to work great for roasting. I don't need perfect carrots, which this was a really good price. And then in this box, I want to say it was 20 pounds of apples. So I got to get these put in the fridge. All of these have to be stored in the fridge. And then this box I actually have not opened yet. The bottom was starting to come out, so I put it on its side. Is 40 pounds of cabbage. So super excited about that. Look, cabbage looks really good. This is the only live plant I got, and I got comfrey. And so I have some seeds that I started, but they were older and they haven't come up yet. So I wanted to make sure I at least had one comfrey plant. Trying something new this time. I got a filter for cold brewing in a 1/2 gallon mason jar. So I'm really excited about this. My husband loves cold brew, and so I think that this will be good. We also got 5 pounds of smoked cheddar cheese, and this stuff is delicious, especially on hamburgers. And then we got 6 pounds of mozzarella cheese. Next, we got a pound of Thompson raisins and a pound of dried cranberries. Got a pound of taco seasoning. We got 1 pound of thyme. This will fit probably a 1/2 gallon jar, but I have no time, so I'm excited to have that. This is 1 pound of spearmint leaf. This is probably going to fit 2 1/2 gallon jars, we'll see. But spearmint tea is very good for people with PCOS and helping with hormone regulation. And so I wanted to make sure I got a lot of that. And then I got some hard red wheat berries, so I can start using the grain mill for my sourdough. And then I have some hard white wheat berries. I just got 5 pound bags for now, and I'm going to see if I can get back in the habit. I need to get back in the habit of using the grain mill before I buy the 25 pound bags. And so this will help me get going and just see how let me get in the process of it before I invest in the 25 pound bags or 50 pound bags. I did get 3 of these of the pure lemon juice. I don't like those little things that have like the little shape of a lemon for lemon juice because it has so many other ingredients besides organic lemon juice. So I'm excited to have these. This time we only got 3 of the creamy peanut butters. We really like the, once again, unsweetened creamy peanut butter. These were on sale, and so I got the pappardelle egg pasta. These have been really good, and so I wanted to have a few on hand for some quick last minute meals if I need them. And then I got some more pumpkin seeds, and some dried sweet cherries. I also got a pound of hibiscus flower and a pound of dried mango. This has the least amount of sugar that I have found in dried mangoes, the organic dried mango. My husband loves dried mango, but he deals with sugar issues. So if I can get him one that's a little bit better, that is good. I got some soft white wheat berries and another gallon of avocado oil. And then the last thing is a new one, and it's wild blueberry flax granola, which is primarily for me. All right, so I'm going to answer a few common questions. Why the heck do I buy this much food at a time? And there's only a couple of us in the household, so how are we going to use this before it goes bad? And how do I store it? So number one, I buy this much because when you're cooking from home, you go through a lot of stuff, and we are trying really hard to make sure that we're cooking more from home. And carrots and beets and cabbage can be used in many different ways. You can just roast them, you can add them to soups, you can add them to stir fries. You can do all kinds of things with them. We have the Blackstone griddle, and so some cabbage steaks on the Blackstone I think are going to be delicious, and so I'm really excited about that. I store these by putting them in the fridge. I'll keep the fridge probably a little cooler with all of these in it. We have a regular house fridge that has the freezer on top and fridge on the bottom that came with the duplex that we're renting. And then we have one that can either be a fridge or a freezer. And that one I can control the temperature down to the degrees. And so I'm probably going to store the apples in the house refrigerator, and then the other one, everything else in the larger refrigerator where I can control the temperature. Thing is, apples will off gas, and they will help everything else kind of ripen and go bad faster. And so you want to keep those separate from other things as much as possible. That's why when people have root cellars and stuff, they have to have ventilation in there. And usually people keep their apples closer to that ventilation so it goes out versus affecting everything else. So all of this will be stored in the refrigerator. They have been stored in the refrigerator, so I have to keep them that way. And then for the cheese, I will cut these down into blocks and then put them in the freezer in quart-sized freezer bags. And that way, when we want cheese, we have some on hand. The mozzarella I'll like put into blocks. We use that on, like little cubes for snacking on. We use that for all kinds of stuff. And so it's a really good deal for this mozzarella. So I'm excited about that. So we'll chunk it into blocks, put some in the freezer, some in the refrigerator. But the other thing is it's more cost effective to buy it in bulk. And we are going to be hosting people over. And so it's really nice to be able to have fresh food on hand that I can provide and cook and have a good meal in a decent amount of time. I'll be able to take these beets and these carrots actually, along with some onions and some other things, and make a galette for the tea party I'm going to be having. There's all kinds of stuff that I can do. So by buying in bulk, you save a ton of money. So those little packages of tea bags that you get at the store, you can spend $3.50 to $6 on a little box of teas that have like 12 to 18 tea bags. That adds up really, really quickly. This is a huge savings. So this spearmint, I got a the little reusable paper tea bags from Amazon. And so I'll put this in a jar and I'll scoop some of the mint into those little reusable tea bags. And I have tea for a very long time. But this was only, I want to say it was between $10 and $14. I don't remember. I'll try to pop it up on the screen. But this is a large amount of spearmint. And so if you are somebody who is going to be drinking a lot of tea, or you do drink a lot of tea, trying to get some of your herbs in bulk is a huge, huge savings. Herbs, period, are a ridiculous amount of savings. So like the time in the store for organic thyme is probably, depending on where you get it, it's $2 to $5 for half an ounce. And this is 16 ounces. That adds up very quickly. And so I can use this, and I cook a whole lot from home. And so I go through herbs really fast. And this is going to go fast, but it's also a huge savings. And I don't have to keep going back and forth to the store when I need time. Same thing with like the wheat berries. Those were like $4 to $7 for a 5-pound bag of wheat berries. And that is going to create more than 5 pounds of flour. It's fresher. It has the nutrients still in it, the protein still in it. It's not enriched. It doesn't have a bunch of additional stuff. And those store longer on the shelf, where flour is like max a year about before it starts going rancid and changing its smell and taste. This will last a few years if stored correctly. And so it's a better bang for the buck. You're getting more nutrients out of it. And you can't really find wheat berries locally, hardly anywhere. And so getting them through Azure is great. I like the bulk pricing on the peanut butter. Sometimes I can find it for a decent price at the stores, but most of the time I cannot find it for that price. These are, I want to say this was it's like $25 for 6 pounds of mozzarella. And you can pay a pretty chunk for just the 1 pound blocks of mozzarella. And so this is very good tasting cheese. Same thing with the smoked cheddar. That one was a little bit more because it's smoked. But I can't do some of this stuff. So the quality of the ingredients, the ability to store it, and the knowing that I'm going to cook it and use it is huge. So that's a lot of apples to have. But I'm going to pop them in the fridge, and we are going to eat some fresh. We are going to use some for desserts. I'm probably going to make some applesauce. I don't know if I'm going to can it or pop it in the freezer for whatever is easier at the time. And so I'm probably going to do that. But we go through, I mean, when we have it, we add it to meals and make things work well together. Yeah, so that's why we buy bulk. It's cost savings. Even though I do a larger amount up front, it is a cost savings, and you get better bang for your buck, and you have stuff on hand, and you know it's quality. So by the pound, the beets, this size quantity of beets it's under $2 a pound. It was like $1 or something, I think, $1.70 or something like that. A pound for 25 pounds. Where in the store, I can't find it for under $2.50, sometimes $3 for a pound of beets. So that's a huge savings for that. And carrots, it's hit and miss on if it's a better savings or not. But that was about $25 for 25 pounds. And so I feel like that's a pretty comparable price, but it's nice to have them all here and on hand, and I can use them up. So I think Azure is amazing. Basically, you place an order online. You select a drop site that's close to you, and you need to check your order as you get closer to your drop, because some things may go out of stock and you want to plan ahead. You don't want to order when you're out of something. Usually you want to order when you're starting to get low. That way, if something goes out of stock, it usually comes back in pretty quickly, but you have to, there's a month in between your drops. And so it takes planning and figuring things out. I usually stagger, so as coming up, I'm going to end up doing like sugar and stuff like that that I need. I'll probably have some just already milled flour just to have some, but I have flour right now that I'm working through. They have all kinds of stuff. And so I have done many Azure hauls. You can look them up on the channel. I share some of our favorites, our tried and trues. I've tried different things. I like the soaps, some of the soaps I've gotten there. My husband doesn't like the soaps as much, so he had a very particular one that he liked from a store, but they stopped selling that, so we're going to figure that one out. But they have all kinds of things. Even the live plants, they had a huge selection. I had very like specific things that I was looking for, and I tried to start a bunch of my seeds. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. You just have to work your schedule around meeting a semi truck. Everybody helps unload the semi truck. If you're late, then you're just picking up your stuff and getting it home and get it put away. So that's the biggest thing, is making sure you meet the truck and get your stuff. So, but that's it. I hope you enjoy. I hope you try out Azure Standard. I do have a link to them in the description below. That way you can look at the website, figure out pricing. Some things are great savings. Some things are probably not a great savings. And so it depends on where you are, what your prices are. Flours and wheat berries have been across the board a great savings from almost anybody I've talked to. Herbs are another one that is a huge savings from buying from the regular grocery store. And the cheese, I feel like, is a good deal for what you're getting. So, and obviously my veggies, but that's a hit and miss depending on your area and how much things cost. So, if you want to give them a look, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. You can leave a comment below or email me at thepadiafamilyhomestead@gmail.com and with questions about Azure Standard, and I am more than happy to talk to you about my experience. I found them, I think, at the end of 2020, and I have been using them for quite a while, many years, and I love it. It's a great company. I actually met the owner at our event last year that we went to, and I love his heart for why he started it and all of that. So he just wants food to be good food to be accessible to everybody, which is awesome. So that's it. I'm gonna let you go. We'll see you back here on the next video.